Republicans. Now, following the announcement, the president-elect posted this on Truth Social, writing, quote, "I greatly appreciate the recent efforts of Matt Gaetz. Matt has a wonderful future, and I look forward to watching all of the great things he will do." Now, some senators also welcomed the decision.
Well, I mean, there's a sense of relief about it, of course. I think he did a pretty noble thing, frankly, honorable thing by getting out himself. I thought his statement was appropriate, and I look forward to a new nominee that we can get fully behind.
Look at that palpable relief and happiness. All right, with Gaetz out of the running for Attorney General, he is now effectively unemployed. Gaetz resigned from his seat in Congress last week following the president-elect's nomination. Now, there is a possibility that he could join the next Congress when it convenes next year. He did get elected to that Congress, after all, and he only resigned from this one. A special election to replace him, should he not join next Congress, has not yet been set. Now, as for the House Ethics Committee's report on the allegations against Gaetz, the committee's chairman, Republican Congressman Michael Guest, he told reporters that Gaetz' withdrawal should, quote, end the discussion over how the panel should move forward. Donald Trump, meanwhile, has already announced a new attorney general pick. That would be Pam Bondi. Bondi served as the state attorney general in Florida from 2011 to 2019. Then in 2020, she joined Trump's legal team, defending the then president in his first impeachment trial. Bondi also oversaw the filing of voting-related lawsuits in battleground states during the last presidential election and falsely claimed that Trump had won Pennsylvania. Now, back in 2013, when Bondi was Florida's attorney general, she was asked to look into fraud allegations against Trump University. Her office never opened up the case. Around that time, Trump donated $25,000 to a political action committee supporting Bondi's re-election campaign. Bondi has denied that donation played any role in her office's decision. In a statement announcing his new AG pick, President-elect Trump called Bondi, quote, an American first fighter, saying she will, quote, refocus the DOJ to its intended purpose of fighting crime and making America safe again. Joining us now is MSNBC Justice and Legal Affairs analyst, the man for this moment, Anthony Coley. Anthony, what's up, man? Hope you're doing well. Let's start with Gaetz. What's your reaction to him taking himself out of the nomination? Were you like me, and did you think that they would just push it to a vote and see where the chips fell?
I thought they would, Sam. I got to tell you, I've worked for 3 U.S. senators, and the default position for most senators of either party is to give an incoming president the room to make out his own team, to fill out his own batting order. But, Sam, that presumes that these nominees are qualified. Matt Gaetz was laughably unqualified to be United States Attorney General. This is a man, Sam, as far as we could tell, he never even argued a case in court. He's a lawyer, but he's never argued a case in court. He has scant management experience. This is a department, the Justice Department, that has 115,000 employees, multiple components and offices, and he has very little expertise in issues that matter at the Justice Department. We're talking antitrust issues, national security issues. He had very little criminal law experience, save for being the target of a federal criminal investigation that looked at his alleged involvement, sexual involvement with an underage person. So bottom line with both of these picks, Sam, is that Trump has learned one fundamental truth about Washington, which is that people are policy, and he wants people atop the Justice Department, atop all the federal bureaucracy who will do exactly what he wants done, despite what the law and the facts say. And that's what he has in both of these nominees.
Well, then I guess that begs the question, Anthony. Your rendering of Gaetz' resume is that he's frankly clearly unqualified for the post, and you listed, substantive reasons in addition to the sordid personal ones. But is Pam Bondi qualified for the post? Putting aside the fact that she would be a loyalist to Trump, by those same standards, is Pam Bondi, in your estimation, qualified for the post?
So the Bondi nomination reminds me a lot, Sam, of the Janet Reno nomination for Attorney General. You remember that?
Yeah.
both of these individuals had extensive legal experience, but they were not the first choice for the job. They were both state-level prosecutors for years, and they're both history makers, right? Janet Reno is obviously the first the nation's female attorney general of either party. Bondi would be the nation's first Republican female attorney general. The similarities stop there, though, Sam. Janet Reno was fiercely independent of the Clinton White House, appropriately so. And this lady was fiercely loyal to Trump. And when we talk about loyalty, Sam, we're not talking about loyalty. When the Trump team uses the word, they're talking about blind obedience. And that's what scares me about Pam Bondi. I think back, my mind goes back to November and December of 2020 when she was on national television embracing these false claims, these false lies of election interference, of saying that Joe Biden hadn't won the election. That flied in the face, Sam, of dozens and dozens of courts. And for the nation's chief law enforcement officer to not have respect for the courts, for the rule of law, that to me should be a disqualifying reason for anybody to be the nation's chief law enforcement officer.
Well, Anthony, you called her a sober pick. That's your quote, sober. I'm gathering that means that you needed a few more drinks to process it, but maybe not. I'm curious, do you think, well, let's look forward. Let's assume confirmation. I think that's fair at this point because they got Gates out of the way. They could feel better about this one. And frankly, I don't think anyone expects Trump to pick a non-loyalist, right? He's been pretty adamant about that. Let's assume confirmation. How do you see that loyalty in the AG role manifest itself in terms of policy? Because you also said a personnel's policy, especially with Trump. So what does that mean?
Well, it means that she would potentially toss aside decades of post-Watergate norms to perhaps even go after Donald Trump's perceived political enemies, even when the facts say that that's not appropriate to do so. Right now, DOJ will tell you, Sam, that they follow the facts, and the facts in the law tell them where they should go next with regard to any prosecution. Under Donald Trump, we could potentially see a scenario where he is giving orders to his attorney general to not just go after his perceived political enemies, but to go after members of the press even, if they write or report something that he doesn't feel is accurate. And that is not who we have been as a country. And this is what makes both of these nominations, quite frankly, troubling.
All right, MSNBC Justice and Legal Affairs analyst Anthony Coley. Anthony, appreciate you, man. Thank you so much.
Good to see you.
And still ahead, Donald Trump is set to roll out new executive orders when he returns to the White House next year. What we're learning about his plans for his first days in office. Plus, we'll have the latest on the race for U.S. Senate in Pennsylvania as incumbent Senator Bob Casey concedes to Republican David McCormick. Those stories and a check on weather when we come right back.
Shopify's point-of-sale system helps you sell at every stage of your business. Need a fast and secure way to take payments? We've got you covered. How about card readers that you can rely on? Yep, that too. Want one place to manage every sale from every channel? That's kind of our thing. Wherever you sell.
It's time for the main event. Wayfair's Black Friday Savings Spectacular is here. Right now, get up to 80% off furniture and cookware, holiday decor, and more at Wayfair's lowest prices of the year. Plus, score 24-hour flash deals you have to see to believe. And get free shipping on everything. Save up to 80% off Wayfair's Black Friday Savings Spectacular. Now through December 2nd.
Wayfair, every style, every home.
If I think through one of the key experiences and what we hear time and time again from the founders and the founder journey, it has been to make sure you invest in the right talent. It's one of the things I think we focus on, particularly at Founders Forum, which is how we can help technology companies think through that talent and how we can help bring more international talent in at the same time as growing homegrown talent and enabling companies to develop the technology skills for them. Technology is growing and changing and rapidly evolving at such a pace that maintaining the ability to think through the team structures and the skills that are required can really be fundamental in that growth. And so, from my own experience and from what I hear time and time again from that founder journey, it's decisions and the pace of decision making around the talent pool that they invested in.
My father was a Boston cop who became a lawyer, and he had me in the courtrooms all the time. And so everything that happens in courtrooms makes perfect sense to me, and my job is to try to make it make sense to an audience.
Each week on my podcast, I'm joined by uniquely qualified guests who help me take a big picture look at the issues, like Representative Jasmine Crockett, late night host Seth Meyers, former Attorney General Eric Holder, and many more. Why is this happening? Listen now.
NBC News has learned that President-elect Donald Trump is set to roll out multiple executive orders within hours of being sworn in the White House. Reporters spoke with more than half a dozen sources familiar with the transition, who say the orders will be enacted at a pace that is, quote, like nothing you've seen in history. It's very Trumpian, quote. Trump is expected to sign up to 5 policies on illegal immigration on his first day alone, and is planning to overturn Biden-era policies, including travel reimbursement for military members seeking abortion care and transgender service members' access to gender-affirming care. Trump transition spokesperson said in a statement, quote, the American people can bank on President Trump using his executive power on day one to deliver on the promises he made to them on the campaign trail. Joe Biden's chief of staff, meanwhile, hosted a dinner for other notable chiefs of staff from times past, as well as Susie Wiles, who will take over as Donald Trump's chief of staff next year. The gathering has been a tradition for several administrations where the veteran chiefs of staff offer advice and ideas for the incoming chief of staff. Tuesday night's attendees included the chiefs of staff under President Obama, Bush, Clinton, and Jimmy Carter. The group agreed to hold another formal advice session after Donald Trump's inauguration. Now, incumbent Democratic Senator Bob Casey of Pennsylvania has conceded his race to Republican Dave McCormick. In a video posted on social media, Casey said, quote, as the first count of ballot is completed, Pennsylvanians can move forward with the knowledge that their voices were heard, whether their vote was the first to be counted or the last. In response to Casey's concession, McCormick released a statement that reads in part, quote, Senator Bob Casey has dedicated his career to bettering our Commonwealth. Dina and I want to extend our sincere gratitude to Senator Casey, Therese, and their family for their decades of service, hard work, and personal sacrifice. With 99.8% of the vote in, McCormick won the race by just over 16,000 votes. The small margin of victory triggered an automatic recount, with the results expected out Wednesday. Now, barring any changes, Republicans will hold the Senate majority with 53 seats.